It looks like KFC's in the lobby here. Let's get him in there, and let's get started on our draft coverage. KFC, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? What's
Hey,
up?
man. Jordan, this is KFC. He's a guy I've been interacting with on Twitter. He does a hell of a podcast. KFC, give us a little background on you, buddy.
I'm just a kid from Kentucky. Love Jesus, love the Browns, love Kentucky. So that's pretty much all you need to know.
Give us a little background on your podcast.
So I've got Down with the Browns. We like to cover the Browns. Just some guys like to talk about, the best football team in Cleveland. So,
and then you recently started the Kentucky College podcast, correct?
Yes, sir. So we started, me and some buddies from my church. We started Cat's Cut podcast, which we had started it a few years ago, actually, but we just kind of fizzled out. But now we're like back at it. So because we all, that's what's majority here in Kentucky.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm from that southern part. I know I see you guys with the Cincy stuff. I'm on that other side, down there where Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia meet. So,
well, as you can see, you got a little twang on it. So we know you're a little bit more southern than we are. But hey, man, we really appreciate you coming on. Let's get right into it.
It's an honor to be on.
Hey, it's big for us, and we very much appreciate it. Let's get into it, though. The Browns, I thought they had a pretty solid draft, KFC. What pick on here did you think was the best pick the Browns made in the draft? And then we'll get a little bit more into it.
So I think the best pick we had was the Zach Zenner pick. Like, bro, I've been harping. I didn't think we'd take him in the third. I was thinking more 156, but I didn't know how draft boards were. There's a lot of guys that went above what everybody thought they would, and a lot of the guys went farther.
Yes, for sure.
Zach Zenner is a guy. I was like, we got to get him because you go back and watch him at Michigan. The dude's a dog. I know this is an Ohio sports thing, and I know you don't like. Yeah. Okay. I'll that team up north. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
There
you go.
There you go. Sorry for cussing. But yeah, Zach Zenner. I really like that pick because he's a dog, and I think the only reason we were able to get him in the third round is because of that injury caused by our second round pick. So in a way, he was already helping the Browns before he knew it.
For sure.
Because I think he probably went first, second round. Because he was pretty solid.
Well, based on what we've seen, and Jordan, unfortunately, we've got to see him kind of railroad the Buckeyes for a couple of years now. That guy felt to me like a first round talent. You go out and you get the knee injury, playing the Buckeyes. I think that was a steal also. I thought it was a great pick. Jordan, thoughts on Zach Zenner, somebody that we've unfortunately got to know pretty well here in Ohio?
No, I'm going to kind of sound like a broken record. He's definitely a steal. I think 2 years in a row, you had DeJuan Jones fall to you last year, and you kind of look at this pick. This pick kind of falls into that mindset for me anyways. A guy that can absolutely come in and make a difference and potentially, really, really make a case to maybe start. So I think his talent is there. You get a young guy on a rookie contract that, if he doesn't get to start, he's a depth piece and you saw what happened to injuries last year for Cleveland, especially on offensive line.
For sure.
And that nature. So you can never have too many depth pieces. So really, hats off to the Browns organization for kind of jumping on that and possibly overlooking his injury. But, we'll see how that plays out when the season gets closer to camp.
Okay, KFC,
I think
back to you, though. Was there anybody you think we reached on? Was there anybody that you didn't love on this draft?
Oh, you guys are going to hate me. Michael Hall, I'm going to be honest. If you go watch Down with the Browns, you're going to see me get really upset because I thought this was a guy we could have got at 85, maybe totally wrong. You guys can enlighten me a little bit more on him. He's not a guy I really studied out in the draft. So he really wasn't when we picked him, I was just like, well, okay. It just caught me off guard a little bit because I thought we would kind of go more linebacker. I wasn't big on we got to get a wide receiver at 54. I wasn't that guy. That's just not the direction I thought we would go. So it caught me off guard. And I mean, I hope he comes out and he's the greatest defensive tackle ever. I hope he's up there with like Aaron Donald. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, I hope he's a dog. But I get it, and he's like 20 right now. He'll be 21 time season starts, and he's a great pass rusher. He's a little weak in the run defensive game, but from what I've studied out since we've got him, it looked like Ohio State was kind of playing him out of position. They were playing him at the 1 tech. He's more of a 3 tech guy, and that's where he'll be playing more with the Browns because we've got guys like Siaka Ika, if he's still on the team, and Dalvin Tomlinson. So I think that it just caught me more off guard. I give it like a C+ because I could see where they came from with it because there's a lot of growth in that pick, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. Jordan, I know we're a little bit biased, but if you take that hat off, what were your thoughts on Michael Hall? Because like KFC said, we are getting a good pass rushing D tackle. And like he said, with the amount of talent at Ohio State, you kind of sometimes have to play a little bit out of position that you would normally be just to fit all your talent on the field. Thoughts on getting Michael Hall there at 54?
I kind of see him as a player that both you guys got to watch on the Browns as well. I'd put him up there with like Larry Ogunjobi style of play, and he's a little bit more athletic. He still ran a subpar 4.8, 4.9 40 at the combine. If you want to look at his athleticism and kind of how he measured out during the grading process over in Indianapolis, a lot of boards had him at round 2. So I didn't think he was necessarily an overreach. He's a guy that can kind of make an immediate impact. I think he's kind of a third down specialist in year 1 for pass.
Yeah, he's definitely a depth piece year 1, but I agree.
But with some training and size, if you guys can get him in the right position, I think he'll play better in the run than he did at Ohio State, just for that sole purpose that kind of Doug brought up. He was definitely out of place, but the amount of talent in college and kind of how people rotated and just kind of, lack of coaching at Ohio State last year when it came to the kind of the defensive calls and defensive line, that I think he's a solid steal. I'd give it a B- to a B+. I don't have it as low as a C, and that's me not being biased because I had him as a Bengals fan. I had him on my Bengals board on round 2 personally. So I think you guys got an absolute steal there.
Okay. Yeah, KFC. Let's get back into the draft. Was there anybody that we passed on that you thought, hey, we should have got this guy then? Obviously, because you weren't thrilled with the Michael Hall pick. Was who at 54 were you looking at the Browns to get then?
So let me rethink, because I know going into draft day, I wanted Adrian Cooper so bad I couldn't stand it. And then he goes to the Packers at, I think, 45, 46, whatever it was. And I was mad about that one. I'm trying to think of who was still on the board. I think I
don't have a great recollection of who was on the board. I just didn't know if you had a name, and obviously Cooper, is a name that you had. I just didn't know if you had anybody off the top of your head that you thought, probably would have liked that a little bit more.
I'll be honest, man. A lot of that's kind of fuzzy to me. Had a big weekend this weekend.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so I can't really remember Friday who was on the board, but the Michael Hall, like, I'm starting to buy in more to it than I was on draft day. But like, still, I want to see how he does, because I know a lot of people talk about Andrew Berry's track record with wide receivers. I think he's has a worse track record with defensive tackles.
Yeah, it's not
like, and not enough people.
Yeah,
because I mean, you look back at it since he's became the GM. I mean, it's been Jordan Elliott, Tommy Togiai, Perrion Winfrey, last year Siaka Ika, and now Michael Hall. Like, I think the only one on the team still is probably Tommy Togiai and Michael Hall now. So, and we don't know what Siaka Ika's even going to do, because he was an injury scratch or healthy scratch most of the year.
Yeah, he couldn't get on the field at all. Yeah, so no, I agree. Moving down the board then, what did you think of getting Thrash in the 5th round?
It made me want to throw up a little bit just because of the school he went to. Like, oh man, like, I was literally like, okay, like anybody but this guy, because like I just had a feeling, man. I just knew they were gonna take him, and I'm like, please don't, because like last year I was okay. I forgave him for Cedric Tillman. Like, I mean, I was like, you know what, the orange and brown will wash those nasty Tennessee sins away, and then we draft Thrash. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I mean, against Kentucky this year, he did pretty solid. I mean,
he's pretty electric, man.
Yeah, he's solid. I'm surprised actually he lasted that long, but I kind of get why he did. But Louisville had I hate to say this makes me feel sinful. But Louisville had a pretty good year last year, and he was a part of that. And big reason why they were so good last year. And I mean, I'm kind of excited because I mean, at 156, you're not really asking this guy to be a wide receiver one. And I mean, with the talent we have already there, we're not asking him to produce a huge amount of yards. But I feel like he could actually do something with the role he's given this year.
I was thinking, and I was going to ask you guys, do you guys think Thrash gets on the field as potentially punt or kick returner this year? Jordan, what are your thoughts?
I think early he does. I think the Browns organization is going to give him a try. Just all depends on camp and preseason. I think if you see a pop play in the preseason, he's definitely going to make the starting roster. And probably
the reason I ask is he's been really good at making people miss. I think he had 18 missed tackles last year in college. So that's why I thought maybe, to get him on the field and try to see what he can be. What were your thoughts on that, KFC?
So I don't know about like punt returning because I think that's going to be more Naeem Hines. I think that's going to be his. I think they kind of brought him in to replace Durant, even though he never
catches out of the backfield for sure.
Yeah, I think he's going to be more wide receiver 6, maybe 7 if they run 7 this year.
Right.
I'm gonna look at his 40 real quick because I honestly don't know his 40. I know I'm super unprepared. I ran super late. Did not mean to. Because I was gonna have all this stuff. Let me see his 40 real quick. Sorry about that. 4.46. I mean, that's pretty good. So I mean, he could be that guy. He could be that guy that kind of helps take the top off, like when you're running. Because I know they're gonna. Because Ken Dorsey likes to run that 5 wide sometimes.
Yes, he does.
So if they evolve that, he could be that other guy that takes down.
Do you think he'll get a screen package play? Do you ever see him because trying to get the ball in his hands because he's so shifty?
I mean, I could try some of that.
For sure. I definitely see Stefanski trying that. He loves those screen plays. Like any trickeration he can run, he's going to try it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I would just like to see him at least try. Hines, like you said, he should be the punt returner. And I just feel like the Browns have lacked some explosiveness in the special teams. So I don't think anybody should be off the board for, potentially getting that spot. But Hines will be the punt returner. I kind of drew a blank there. But on kick return, let's at least give him a try, see what we can to see if we, get some kind of explosiveness. He's good with the ball in his hands. And you could see that, based on his time at Louisville. Next, KFC, we got Nathaniel Watson. I think he was tied for the lead in sacks in the SEC. And after that, round 7, Miles Harden. Don't know a ton about him. Juwan Briggs. I know about him because of the Cincinnati connection. But some of those guys are a little bit lesser known. Have you been able to look into any of these guys and maybe give us a little background on those guys?
So Nathaniel Watson, I know a little bit about just because we played Mississippi State this year. I mean, he was eating like he's solid. Like I think
I could
definitely see him like taking a starting job. Maybe not this year, but maybe next. Like I think he'll be on the team in 4 years. I'll be honest. I think that's going to be Andrew Berry's hit in the 6th round that he always, I'm not going to say always has, but most of the time he has that 6th round hit. Miles Harden and Javon Briggs, I'm going to be honest, man. Saturday, I really didn't pay much attention to the draft. I kept looking at my phone. Had a lot of family and other stuff going on.
Love it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've not really got to dig in on Briggs, but from what I've saw so far, I think if he produces in, like, the preseason and stuff like that, I could see him definitely maybe sliding in on the practice squad. And and Miles Harden, I can't tell you much. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Jordan, any thoughts on Nathaniel Watson? We talked about him over text a little bit. Anytime you can lead the SEC, I don't care what you're doing. If you lead the SEC in something, you are a talented player. Any thoughts on him? I know he's really sure tackler, and that's something I believe the Browns desperately need. I talked to you, Jordan, last week. I said, hey, linebacker is a position of need. They do get him 6th round. I thought maybe they could try to get Cedric Gray a little earlier in the draft. Didn't go that way, but Nathaniel Watson, a good pass rushing linebacker, a sure tackler. What are your thoughts, Jordan?
Watson on a lot of boards was rated a round 5 or even a potentially round 4 when it came to the combine over in Indianapolis. So I think this is an out of the ballpark home run pick at round 6. You're getting a for sure tackler, a guy who has got a lot of starts in college, so he's got experience. It's the SEC, so in my mind, anytime you get a guy that can lead stats in the SEC, the lights are never going to be too bright. So, moving into the professional field, SEC players always kind of translate the best, even though I'm a Big Ten guy. It pains my heart to say that out loud. But I think he's a for sure thing. I think he's going to lead your team in special team tackles this year. And if you guys can squeeze him in to some packages and some rotation, I think you're going to see a spark. So I definitely probably see him on a team 3 to 4 years from now. So I think you guys got somebody that's going to be with the organization and move up going forward, especially at a 6th round. I think that multiple years in a row, you guys are knocking home runs in the 5th and 6th rounds. So,
okay. So now that we've got the board out of the way, KFC, give me a letter grade overall for this draft for the Browns. I mean, obviously no 1st round pick. We know where all of that capital's gone. Give me a grade on this draft.
I'm gonna give it a C+.
C+. That's where PFF had it, so I think that's pretty fair. Jordan, I know you've been a little bit higher on this draft than most. What were your thoughts on this draft?
My thoughts for the Browns, I got you guys at a B-, B+.
That's good.
I think PFF is sleeping on some of these 4th, 5th, and 6th round guys that, in my opinion, you're going to see some impact. You're going to see some plays. You're going to see some spark. And I as a Bengals fan, I mean, this is me being real raw and honest. You play in the AFC North, and I think some of these guys are AFC North built. So I also think PFF is kind of looking over that. You look at the style of play on the guys that you drafted, for sure tacklers, for sure blockers, guys that have great intangibles coming out of the defensive position and offensive position. So I think for the Browns, it's a little bit higher. If you guys played in AFC South or somewhere in the NFC, I can see that C+ kind of holding. But the AFC North is a different place. So I got you guys B-, B+ for that sole purpose.
I'm gonna go B- also. I think it's slightly above. I'm a little bit higher, obviously, on Michael Hall than KFC, and for reasons. There's a little bit of biasness in there, but at the end of the day, I'm a Browns fan, so I want these guys to be good. So I'm gonna lean on the side of positivity until we get to actually see them with the jerseys on and hitting and things like that. KFC, really appreciate you, man. Is there anything else you want to talk about before you get out of here today?
Nah, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's an honor. Anytime you guys want me on, I'll happily hop on.
Love that,
just
dude.
let me know.
We love that.
Hey, we're gonna definitely use you on some Mondays after Browns games. So I look forward to having you on. Hopefully we can link up and maybe get you back on your podcast one of these days.
Yeah, we'll get you guys on down with the Browns for sure.
Hey,
all right.
I'm always
Hey, when it comes Bengals week, bro, you're definitely on. I'll just let you know. You're definitely on Bengals week.
I got to tell you, though, be prepared. Jordan is a little more aggressive during those weeks. So
listen, just be ready. We talk trash. Like Manny, when he's on, bro, he's coming at you.
Hey,
I love
he's gonna have that crock pot. He's gonna be ready.
And I got a background for the Marine Corps, so I'm here.
Oh, bro, you can take that. Yeah. Well, thank you for your service, bro.
Thank you.
All right, man. Well, hey, again, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
And obviously, we will be talking about you more as the season goes along.
Yes, sir. Go Browns. Go Reds.
Go Browns, go Reds. Appreciate you, man. See you next time.
See you, brother.
Well, Jordan, that was KFC. Dude's got a lot of energy, a lot of positive energy. Really nice dude. We connected on Twitter, and he's going to be a good reference for us going forward as the season goes along. Be a guy we can get on and be able to talk shop with, talk throughout some of these games.